Hi, it's Mark Ganzer, Technical Account Manager at EAC Product Development Solutions with this week's Tip of the Week. We're all about helical sweeps, coils, and springs this week. Everybody knows to do a straight line sweep, a spring like the one we have on the screen right now, is not a big deal. There's a tool up here in the modeling ribbon that's for a helical sweep. It's very nice about doing straight type springs, springs that maybe bow out or taper, but you're really pretty much stuck with a straight path. Say that 3 times fast. Well, how about if you've got a different situation? How about if you've got something like this, where the path you want the sweep to go along right here is not a straight line? Well, there's a trick that lets us get around that with just a couple regular sweeps. So let's start in and show you how you do that. We're going to do our initial sweep. I'm going to pick that curve as our trajectory. And I'm going to make that a surface, not a solid, that we're going to sweep out. And let's sketch what shape we want to sweep along there. We're looking straight at the end of that shape, so let's make a circle. And this circle represents basically the diameter of the spring, the helical sweep we're going to put along that trajectory. So when I say OK to that, let's zoom out a little bit and give you an idea what this is going to look like. There you go. You get something like this. So we want the coils really to wrap around this surface as they go around. Well, that's a good starting point. We've defined really where the coils are going to sit, but now we've got to place those coils on that surface. We can do that again with another sweep with a little trick to it. So let's grab that same curve path again, make that a surface, sketch my cross section, and what I'm going to do along that edge is I'm going to put a straight line out. Now that line, we're going to dimension it in terms of its overall length and also its angle to the center line. Well, you look at this and you go, great, well, what's that going to do for me? Well, what we can do is we can choose how we want the angle to change as it goes along that curve. Anytime you do a sweep, you've got a little parameter called the trajectory parameter, or trajpar for short. That trajectory parameter along the sweep from where you start to where you finish goes from a value of 0 to 1, no matter how long that sweep becomes. It's normalized. So we can use that in relationships. So if I want this line to pivot around its pivot point multiple times as we go along that trajectory, I can do that with a Sketchy relation. So let's do that. Let's say I want this dimension, that angle, to be equal to the trajectory parameter, trajpar for short, times 360, which would be 1 revolution around that axis, times the number of coils I want. Well, let's just say 10 in this case. And when I say OK to this, notice it goes to 0. It snaps right on there, as it should. So let's go back to our sketch and say that's good. Now when we get in there, we say, well, wait a second. Let's zoom out so you can see this and go, yeah, it didn't work as planned. There's no helical going around there. It's a straight line. Well, there's a little option in the dashboard right here that says allows section to change based on parametric references. Now, normally they want that turned off. You don't want things wonky happening, but in this case we do. So when we turn that on, now that trajectory parameter is acting. 10 different times as we go along that path, it's making a 360-degree sweep. So we've got those two shapes. I'm going to change to a quilt so I can pick on these. Where we want our final coil or our final spring to go is really where these two shapes intersect. So let's grab those two and hit this nice button in the editing called intersect. Now you can see we've got a new datum curve where those intersect. Our final sweep, which represents the real coil, is going to happen along that trajectory. So I'm going back into the sweep tool, picking that new intersecting curve we've made. It's a little more complicated than something we've had in the past, so it's going to think about it for a second. Let's go and sketch our shape that's going to sweep along there. There we go, at the bottom. Let's just make a simple circle. We'll make life simple on it for now. Make it 150 thousandths. And we say OK. Now again, it's going to think about this for a little bit because it's a little bit more than your out-of-the-box spring. So let's zoom back out on there, and now you can see it's following that trajectory we made. So let's accept that. And to get a real good look at what that looks like, let's take our curves that contributed to that, and we'll hide those. So now you can see we actually have a spring-like shape that's following that trajectory. So again, through the number of sweeps along the trajectory parameter, we can choose how many coils, and we can make this happen along any curve that we can sweep along. So if you have any questions about this tip or any of the other tips, you can contact one of us at EAC, including myself, or you can leave a comment section below this video. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.